What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, I want to talk a little bit about one of our young edge rushers and kind of another one of our edge rushers. It's been Samson Ebicom. Let's just get right into it. Samson Ebicom really has just been disappointing coming back from the injury. Week one, he was able to get a sack. Coming back, it looked like even on limited snap count there in week one, seemed like he was really going to be able to be somebody who'd be impactful for us. And the last 2 weeks have just been incredibly disappointing. With Latu out, he really made no impact against the Broncos, who have a good offensive line, but then against the Titans, who don't have a good offensive line, he wasn't really a factor. And he was actually more of a detriment, especially in the run game. And there was one play that was highlighted and was zoomed in on him. He was supposed to contain the edge, tries to go inside, and Tony Pollard goes outside, right? And I believe that was a touchdown for the Titans. But nonetheless, Samson Ebicom really just not good enough for what he's taking up in the cap, for as much as he's getting paid, right? This is something we talked about in the offseason about if you need to create space to bring in a guy like Trey Hendrickson, maybe Samson Ebicom is a cap casualty. You can save some money getting rid of Samson Ebicom if that's what you want to do. They wanted to keep him because of what he was able to do in his first year with us, right? Which made sense. He was impactful. He was maybe our best edge rusher in terms of the edge rush room, right? Of course, DeForest Buckner does a really good job getting to the passer from the middle, but when Samson Ebicom was in his first year with us, he was really good for what he was making. I think a lot of Colts Nation very happy with the return on the investment there. But then obviously misses last year, and this year coming back from the injury, just like a lot of guys coming back from Achilles injuries, it takes a while to get your feet under you, but honestly, he's playing too much to really be somebody that's not having an impact for us. And so when you look at the scope of things, if he's going to play the way he's playing, if he's going to take a little while to really get his feet under him, I understand getting him the reps, but you just drafted a guy in the second round, another Polynesian guy that went and won a national championship and was a big part of winning that national championship with the Ohio State Buckeyes. So at some point, you got to put JTT in. At some point, you need the young guy to get in, start getting the reps, even if he's splitting reps in some way, and then you just have Samson Ebicom inactive. Right. And honestly, if you're going to do that, you might as well, find a way, you trade them, release them, whatever the case may be, to get some of that cap room. Right. And again, we've talked about getting Trey Hendrickson. Right. You want to get a little extra cap space. Right. You get rid of Samson Ebicom. That helps you out a little bit, gives you a little extra money. Then JTT can stop being inactive. He can be a part of the rotation. I guess if you're bringing Trey Hendrickson in, you'd probably still be inactive because you're just replacing Ebicom at that point. But nonetheless, as it sits, we don't have Trey Hendrickson. There's really been no reports of anybody trying to go after Trey Hendrickson. It's just a conversation that a lot of fans are having. Like, okay, the Bengals are going to be trash. Like, they really weren't going to be good either way. From what we saw with Joe Burrow, because that offensive line is so bad, no run game for the Bengals. So what's the conversation surrounding Trey Hendrickson? That's one we've talked about. But at some point, you have to get JTT in the game, right? And Latu, we need him to step up. He does a good job getting to the quarterback. My issue with Latu is that he's not a finisher. Right. And that's something that can come along. And I expect that to get better as time goes. You got to, if you're getting into the backfield, you got to be able to get the quarterback down. There are a lot of mobile quarterbacks, a lot of young mobile quarterbacks that can run, but Latu's got the athleticism. He's got to be able to get these guys on the ground. So from that aspect, that's where our edge rusher has to be better, right? If he can actually get the sacks, we're going to be pretty good, at least on one side of the edge rushers. I saw a graph about double teams, and DeForest Buckner is almost at 80% double teams. Grover Stewart is a little over 50% getting double teamed. So they're just taking away our inside guys and saying, okay, well, make your pass rushers get to the quarterback, and we really haven't been able to do that. Honestly, in the graphs that I've seen, Tyquan Lewis has been our best pass rusher, which says a lot, honestly. And don't get me wrong, Tyquan Lewis has been good. He just got a sack in the last game. Different times he's been able to put on pressure. But when you look at what this defense needs, we need help in the pass rush. And I think, something I said all offseason is that JTT, because I didn't think we'd be playing Samson as much as we are. I thought JTT would start the season on a low rep count. It would just build up as the season goes. And by the end of the season, I thought he might be a pretty key contributor in the rotation. And I still think there's time for that to happen, right? We're only going into week 4, but he's been inactive whenever Latu isn't hurt, right? So I think getting him in there, getting him the reps, getting him some more in-game experience, because even when Latu was out, I think he only played like 8 snaps in that game against the Broncos. And again, really good offensive line. Not much chance to really do anything there. Looking at different graphs of offensive lines and offensive linemen, the Broncos have one of the best, and they have some really good tackles. So, going into that game, it was a great challenge. But never really able to get into a rhythm. So I'd like to see our second round pick, right? We went first round edge rusher 1 year, second round edge rusher another. It'd be nice to see JTT get some reps. So going into this game, how likely is that as of right now? Probably not very. It'll be interesting to see what the Colts decide to do as they start practice. Will there be any reports or will there be any questions from the media to Shane Steichen or Lou Anarumo about, hey, what are we thinking with the edge rusher room? When are we going to get JTT on the field some more, right? Why is he inactive when Samson is playing the way he's playing, right? And if you need Samson to get his legs under him, again, have him inactive, have JTT in the lineup. I'd really enjoy seeing him. Again, he was a massive part of Ohio State being as dominant on defense as they were en route to a national championship. And obviously college and the NFL are two different animals. Everybody in the NFL is really good. But nonetheless, we're going up against a Rams team that on offense and on defense, pretty much all the graphs I'm seeing, like the Colts and the Rams, very similar in terms of, the things they're good at and the things they're not so good at, like red zone offense. They're actually worse, which was very interesting to me. Matthew Stafford has a worse EPA in the red zone than Daniel Jones does, and that's really the only area of Daniel Jones so far where we have negative stats, is the EPA in the red zone. So overall, we have to be able to disturb Matthew Stafford in this game. He has a couple interceptions on this season, but he's throwing the ball to Puka Nacua, who these graphs I'm talking about, Puka Nacua is like in his own league right now in terms of stats, in terms of everything we're seeing from the Rams. Puka Nacua is an animal, right? And when you think back to 2023, Anthony Richardson's rookie year, the Rams ended up winning on a walk-off touchdown to Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua had a huge game, including the game-winning touchdown there. So being able to have to contain him while also being able to have to contain Devontae Adams and Tutu Atwell and Kyron Williams and Tyler Higbee, like they have a good offense. Just again, like very similar offensively and defensively. But defensively, obviously they have an incredible pass rush. We have to be able to match that. Now, the thing about the Rams, they don't blitz as much, right? Especially from what we've seen from teams so far this season. They don't blitz near as much as the other teams that we've played so far, which could play into our hands, but they have a really good front four, so they're going to be playing back and having, a lot of 7 guys in coverage looks. So that'll be interesting. And again, we'll look into all that as the week goes on and as I continue to gather notes on what we can expect going into the game. But overall, again, I just like to see JTT on the field. I think it's time to start getting him involved, so that by the end of the season, right, we can see how valuable he can be to the pass rush. We have to do something. Right, we have to do something. We're not going to trade for Trey Hendrickson. We have to find an answer somewhere. Latu has to be a better finisher, but what are we going to do on the other side of that? Right, we have to be able to take pressure off of DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart, who are getting doubled at an insane rate. And if people are going to be doubling those guys, we have to win on the edges. And I do think JTT possesses the ability to be able to be one of those guys. We just have to get them in the game. Right? So that's just what I'm thinking as I continue to sit here and look at things. That's a conversation that Colts Nation's been having on Twitter, and it's one that I thought I'd bring to YouTube. So I'd like to know what your guys' opinion is, right? What do you think we should do with Samson? How do you think that situation should go? What do you think about JTT? Do you think he should be playing more? Do you think we should get him involved in the rotation? Stop having him be inactive on Sundays? What's your opinion on this topic? I'd love to see where Colts Nation is on this, so that I kind of know, where we are going into the future, and we can kind of continue to have these conversations based off what you guys are saying. You let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Of course, if you enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on so you can continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.